Hey everyone. Hi everyone. It has been a week and a half. It has been a good, busy, over the top week. Okay, I'm making some notes. Um, I'll wait a few minutes. I hope you all are having a good week. I'm actually talking to you from Mexico City. I think I'm in the Palanca neighborhood, but I'm gonna wait a couple minutes to make sure everyone can hear me. Uh, and today's topic, hey, how are you? Hi. We made it. Hi, Tanya. Welcome. How's everyone doing? Sorry, excuse me, I'm eating papaya. I'm in Mexico City. It's a little bit crazy. I won't eat throughout the show. I hope you all are good. Let me know that you can hear me okay, because I forgot my AirPods. Hi Kenya. Hi Danielle. Welcome everyone. Hi Tracy. Hey girl. Hi Karen. I know you're back in SMA. So exciting. Excuse the glare back here. I'm in a Airbnb in Mexico City, and hopefully the sun will be going down soon. I hope everyone is doing well. Hi, Michelle, welcome. Okay, good, you can hear me. Welcome, Felice Goddess Mika. Welcome. Thank you for joining tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about my stuff, but we're also going to, hi, Carla. We're also going to talk about things that I think affect people and they don't always have the conversation or they're not always prepared. So, a lot of the conversations I have here on my channel is really to share my own experiences with you. Hi, Frederica. Yes. Hi, ladies. Yes. Okay. Oh, I love you guys. So I have like a full house at Casa Elm. I love them all. And when I say love them, I'm not just saying, like lightly. I love them all. I love you too. I love Karen. Hey, Shauna. Yes, they're just a great group. And we're so blessed. We went to La Gruta this morning. So much going on. Hi, Francis. Welcome, welcome. So, let me do my intros for anyone new to my channel. I'm Michelle Wedderburn. I am the founder of Casa Elm Guest House, which is located in San Miguel de Allende, which is also located in central Mexico in the state of Guanajuato. Yes, you all can let us know where you're from. Tonight, I'm just going to chat with you. I don't have any guests. My son is here with me. I'll tell you why we're in Mexico City. I'll tell you about our drive to Mexico City. Hi, Dawn. Welcome, welcome. Yes. I will just fill you in on everything, on all things. But if you haven't been here before, please hit the like button on this particular video. If you like what I'm doing and you visited a few times, or if you're loving what we're going to talk about today, please subscribe. I feel that it's important to have these conversations. Sometimes that might be a little bit difficult, but I think it's important also to talk about the realities of life, right? So, hey, everyone, I love that you all are chatting. Love, love, love. And I just want to kind of talk about my journey from just kind of reassessing some of the things, right, that brought me to where I am today. And I am so grateful for all of those things. As I continue to get older, I realize that it's okay to kind of let go of the things. I know this is said often, but let go of the things that no longer serve us or that aren't healthy for us. I think stress is a killer. I know I mentioned this in a few of my lives in the past, but today we're just going to talk about relationships, moving and living abroad, basically moving to a new country with your partner, Nothing wrong with that. I don't want you to think today is about bashing. It is not. I'm never wasting my energy on bashing, but I want to talk about like the different challenges that come with that. Some of the things that I encountered in regard to making the decision to move to a new country, right? And basically dragging people with me. So again, I'm Michelle. I'm the founder of CasaElm.com. It's a beautiful boutique guest house in San Miguel de Allende. I help people who are interested in relocating, moving to, visiting San Miguel. We are a soft landing space for the ladies that are here in the chat that are actually at my house right now. They're just loving on each other. They've been hanging out for most of the week, drinking wine. They're like, we're going to bed early, but they're still up kind of late, and I just absolutely love it. I think that it's such a beautiful thing, the energy that's being kind of poured into the space and into each other. It's just loving. On Sunday, we had a sound bowl meditation ceremony by Terry. Thank you, Terry. And it was just so beautiful. It's so healing, and that's what Casa Elm is. It's a soft landing. It's a space for healing. No matter who you are, where you come from, it's a space for you to heal. And I'm just very grateful that this is where I am 6 years into this journey. It's a journey. We're all on a journey, right? We are all on something, right, that's leading us towards something. And I think always striving for not just excellence per se, but striving for the things that feel good to you. I think it's super important. So today I had so many things on my horizon. I mean, okay. This morning I got up, well, yesterday was Micah's birthday. A lot of you already know this. We had a trampoline party, blah, 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 right? It was lots of fun. I absolutely love him. So proud of him, super grateful. Hi, welcome, Cheryl. Thank you so much. Really just so blessed that, he's here, right? He can see another type of thing. That was always my intention from when I was pregnant. I was literally looking at other countries and places that I could raise him elsewhere, and I'm so grateful that I'm here in Mexico, which comes with its challenges, but I'm grateful. Welcome, Shan. So in saying all of that, this morning we got up at the crack of dawn. We went to La Gruta, and I say we as myself and two of my guests decided to join. It's a part of our sabbatical month. This is the month of March. We are doing a full sabbatical at Casa Elm. And on Saturday, we had a sit-down dinner, drinks, conversation. Sunday, we had a sound bowl healing ceremony. It was amazing meditation, some light stretching, light yoga, more food, more drinks. And today we went to La Gruta, the hot springs here in I'm not in San Miguel, but in San Miguel. And it was just really loving and beautiful. But as soon as I got home, I had to jump in my car. Beautiful Miss Barbara and Micah and we all basically hit the road and we came to Mexico City. So I'm going to tell you about this and then I'll get into my topic. So we're almost at the Airbnb, which is like Fort Knox up in here. Okay, it's beautiful. I don't know. It's kind of hard to see behind me. I guess as the sun goes down, you will see more. But this is the cityscape, right? And what I love the most about this place is what it says on the window. It says, embrace the meanwhile, right? It's very appropriate for what I'm going to talk about. And I feel like I need to get that put somewhere in Casa Elm because it's perfect, right? So anyway, we're almost to this Airbnb. Miss Barbara's going to another Airbnb. But she rode with me, so I'm very grateful that I had company, not afraid to do this trip. And then this cop pulls me over, right? And he's telling me that I need what's called kind of like a tourist circulation thing for my vehicle. And I said, like, what is that? Even though I kind of knew, because I think they have like certain days that certain vehicles in the city can drive and not. And I think this is just to help cut down on pollution and environmental like challenges and toxins and all these other things. I remember like years and years and years and years ago driving out of Mexico City, and that was somehow a concern or whatever. But since I've lived here for the last 6 years, it has never come up. I've driven to Mexico City several times, but okay, today, so, I got pulled over, right? And the guy was like kind of telling me to go over, but I thought he was telling me to just go in another lane. But anyway, the police transit officer, right? So anyway, hey, how are you? Okay, yes, that's it. Thanks so much, Adelia. So he pulls me over and he's like explaining whatever. So I say, hold on a second, I'm going to call my attorney, right? So I call my attorney and he's kind of saying, basically the whole bribe thing, which I don't like. And I hate to say that it's really unfortunate because it's kind of a part of the culture here. And I'm not saying it's okay, and I'm not saying offer it, right? So don't say that Michelle told me to just pay. No, I did not. I'm just telling you what happened today, okay? So hi Jetta, welcome. So basically, yeah, he's saying whatever. My attorney's talking to him, and he's like, oh, I have to full whatever. What I came to realize in this conversation is he was nervous to have a conversation over the phone about this and how much would be okay for me to keep it moving. Because I was like, hey, I'm almost there. I never heard of this. I don't know what you're talking about, even though I heard of it, but it was like literally in 2005 when I heard of that. So yes, I drove to Mexico City. I drive to Mexico City often. It's not that bad. It's 3.5 hours. It is really not that bad. It's a beautiful drive. If the bus can drive me, then I can drive me. I have a car, right? So anyway, gave him his little bit of pesos and kept it moving. And then I reached out to one of the guys that helps me, and he's like, oh yeah, you can get this paperwork online for free. I'll get it for you. So he goes online to get this paperwork for me, and he tells me that, yeah, he sends me this message and he says, this is the height of ridiculousness sometimes that we have to deal with. He says that because my car is a 2007, which I guess it's old for them, it's the oldest it can be is a 2009. And so I'm just kind of like, okay, well, I have to drive Friday out of the city into another part of the state, and I have to turn around and come back Saturday, and I also have to drive out on Sunday. So it is what it is. I said, is there any way around? I don't know if there is or not, so we'll see. I'm not worried about it, but basically that was that. And I don't know, I wasn't really too bothered because I knew it was just about getting some pesos. And I've had it happen to me before in Puerto Vallarta, even though I do think that that was rightfully so because we were driving accidentally in the wrong direction on a one-way, and the guy just wanted money. It happens. I have to say, in the good, the bad, and the ugly, there's a lot more good to living in Mexico. So I know that this is kind of a point of contention for a lot of people, but I just want to say that it does happen. If you have a car, fret not about driving. If you're brave about driving, just, yeah, learn some Spanish. That helps. So anyway, that was my day. I got here to Fort Knox. This building is I think I'm in the neighborhood of Polanco, which is beautiful. I like to move around when I come here, and I've been coming here like a lot lately for different things. This time I'm here because Micah has a 2 full day robotics competition. So yay, Micah. And yeah, I was just like, I need my car. How do I get there? How do I get to this little town? How do I get back? I need a car. So that's the reason why I opted to drive, and I would do it again and again and again. So yeah, I just kind of want to share that because these are real life experiences, which is what we're going to talk about, right? So, excuse me. So I am having some champagne. By the way, I know that Adelia lives in Mexico City. Mexico City, for those who don't know, is the bomb. It is an amazing place. If you haven't heard about it, if you haven't been here, you want to visit, I say come. It's just really beautiful. There are so many things. My son was so excited because of the building we're staying in. It has everything. And so we go downstairs and there's like a bunch of restaurants and Starbucks and Chuck E. Cheese, bowling alley, a movie theater, grocery store. I just had to go down the elevator, walk a few. It's crazy, but it's beautiful. Do I want to live here? No, I don't. But it's still very lovely. The place that we're staying in is very lovely. So I'm grateful for these opportunities. But it's kind of like, very high adrenaline. It was like Fort Knox trying to get in here, and we're here, right? We made it. So saying all of that, again, welcome. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. Please subscribe. And we're going to get into our topic, right? Again, we're going to embrace the meanwhile, and we're going to also learn more about pivoting when necessary, making changes while living abroad when necessary. So I'm not here to bash. Okay, I don't waste my energy on bashing. Hola, Lauren. Welcome. Good. I'm glad you're loving San Miguel. Yes, we love San Miguel. So I'll give you parts of my personal story. I'm not here to, dish the Wendy Williams version. And yes, I hope that she will see some improvement in her health. But so basically, I always wanted to live abroad with Micah, right? And I started out, and I'm still a single mom with a child. And, I have to give his dad some props. We have a good relationship. That just didn't work as far as the relationship between us, but we have a good relationship in regard to Micah. And I always felt that was very important because it's not healthy for the child. It's not healthy for you, regardless of the things that happen, right? Because we all go through things. We all go through stuff. We all go through things. We learn, we pivot, I hope, right? We change, and it's okay to change. It's okay for us to choose something else that serves us better. So in saying that, fast forward to I think it's 2016 when I reunited with my high school sweetheart, right? And some of you already know the story. You've seen me on HGTV, International, House Hunters, San Miguel, blah, blah, blah. And when he and I reunited, we weren't living in the same state. We were already living apart, but we had this history from high school, and we just kind of took a chance and we jumped in to this. But when I was pregnant, I wanted to try somewhere else. I wanted to live somewhere else. I wanted to live abroad. And because this kind of was one of those situations where it was like, well, I don't want to move to Connecticut because it just felt like a lot of baggage and drama and things that I really didn't want to enter into. I didn't want to put myself in a place. So, we talked through things, we had conversations that led to, okay, you're moving down south, right? Because this point, like, I'm retired. I'm not retired. He was retired, and I was kind of with my business, not kind of, I had a business in Florida. I had rental property. So I had my own things. But when we started to talk more, it was kind of like, okay, it's taken a long time to get here. So with time, about maybe 2.5 years or so into the relationship, I was like, okay, you're still not in Florida. And now I have this grand idea to move to Mexico. After research, this wasn't like I woke up one morning and I just wanted to live in Mexico. It was a lot of research, traveling, checking it out together, and just also doing the dollars and cents. Does it make sense to stay in the U.S. and kind of feel like, work is still an essential part of our lives, even though, we felt like, okay, we can take these dollars and we can invest and we can do these things. Like I said, I had my own things. I had two houses, income property, and I had my own business and things like that. So moving forward, it kind of was like a process of elimination. Okay, yes, you know what? Let's make the money go as far as we can. So that was kind of the road that was leading towards moving to another place where it was more affordable, was more economical. And also, for me, it was super important that we could change the trajectory for not just Micah, but also the other children that were, involved in the blended family scenario. Those were my deep emotions, really and truly, was, you know what? We can create a legacy, right? Because this is the start of something grand, right? We're a part of this movement. You're here on my channel. I'm sure a lot of you are on Stephanie Perry's channel, a lot of you on Rashida's, and Picky Girl Travels, Adelia, and anyone else out there who is doing their thing, Tracy, Jackie and Chris, and Danielle, the Exodus family, our Exodus. I mean, honestly, I think that we're all trying to change the future for not just ourselves, but for our children. If you have kids, grandkids, we're trying to show them something different that feels less toxic. So that was kind of my sparkle water, right? My bubble water inside. I was just like, because I have like these visions where I get very excited about what will become, right, in the future. And even if I'm not here to see it, it was something that I was a part of pioneering, right? So that is how I feel, and truly deep down inside, why it is my genuine pleasure to keep sharing, these experiences, taking away those stereotypes and the veil over our eyes about how, living abroad is not good or it's scary or whatever, right? So those were my intentions. And, I'm living and learning as well. I have a tendency to be very headstrong once I get on something, and I'm just kind of like, this is why it makes sense, et cetera, right? So in saying that, we decided at the end of all the research, which took a good, probably close to 2 years of research in terms of online, which is what a lot of you are doing now. I didn't have all these resources. I just kind of looked at a lot of older videos. I also looked at a lot of like guides. Of course, there's, International Living. That's been around, I think, since the late 70s, this magazine. And, just things. And I've traveled a lot. I had spent a lot of time in Mexico, but Mexico was not my initial first choice. I thought initially maybe Italy, maybe Costa Rica, maybe Panama, but in the research, Mexico just kind of kept coming up, and I kept thinking, well, why not Mexico? Because I'm familiar with Mexico. I have history in Mexico. So the history, the work, the planning, all of that just started to make sense and was gelling, right? And I have to say that no matter what happens in your life, that the universe is always conspiring for your greater good, okay? And I just got chills with that one, I have to say, because even when we're going through the shit and the problems and whatever, sometimes the harder it gets, it's because you need to let it go, right? You need to pull that pain, that thorn, you need to pull it out of your side and say, okay, I'm going to embrace the change that needs to happen, right? So along the way, there were lots and lots of signs and red flags, but I think because we didn't live under the same roof, believe it or not, we took a chance. We literally coined it as such. We're taking a chance by, going with the history we had from when we were in high school, even though we had had no conversations, no nothing for over 30 years, believe it or not. Yes, I'm that old. And we just said, you know what? Here we are again. We gave it like a good 9 or 10 months, and we decided we were going to go ahead and get married. And then we were living apart for like a couple years, literally, meeting up mostly wherever I was, but sometimes I would go to Connecticut and whatever, and then coming to Mexico and trying to, basically sort things through. There's a lot to do when you are in a relationship, right? Even if you're in a relationship where that's not the father or the mother of your children, there's a lot that you have to do to bring those blended families together. And that's pretty much, what happened. Like all these steps were involved in bringing so many things together. And it can be challenging where to be. And, fortunately, my ex was a family man, and he still agreed, okay, you know what? Mine are older, and I was kind of like, okay, at some point, older children kind of have their own lives, and they're kind of, with their friends, and they're doing their thing. And we said, okay, we're going to we'll go to Florida. And then the whole Mexico part came here, researched, like, okay, you know what? Where can we go to save money? Where can we live? And that's where all of this kind of, all the pieces started to come together in that regard. But back to the red flags, there were just a lot of things that I think, or I know for a fact, had they existed in the sense of, from the top, we were living together from the very beginning, right? Not having the commuting relationship, it probably wouldn't have worked, right? But sometimes I think all people have good intentions in general, right? Well, not all. In general, we have good intentions to try to make things work, right? It's like, I don't believe in trying to fix someone and change anyone. I don't believe in that at all. I've never subscribed to that. But I do think we subscribe to giving things a chance. And I do think that that's important when you have a relationship, right? Chance, compromise, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So that was kind of my thing, because I'm a very level-headed person when it comes to things. I like to communicate. I like to talk. If something's not good, doesn't feel good, I'm gonna say it. But what I didn't realize, I think, because I had not had this kind of like stressful, high-level stress, and because, again, we weren't living in the same household all the time, it was kind of one of those things where, okay, you came in for a long weekend, in those 3 or 4 days, it's like, and then, okay, you're gone. And I'm just like, okay, we'll talk through these issues and we'll figure whatever. So it wasn't like high level stress all the time, even though, yes, there was still a lot of high level stress over the phone. We talked a lot on the phone and things like that. But what I realized after the fact, so I'm gonna jump forward for 2 seconds, is that there were just a lot of things that I personally wasn't fit or equipped to recognize. I'm not a professional, right? I am me. I'm Michelle, and I I've always had peace and calm in my house, in my spaces, and things like that. And I think somewhere inside, I wanted to help, this get better. Not recognizing a lot of patterns, right? I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a counselor. I'm sorry, I ain't not here to fix someone else's broken up child, okay? Adult child, whatever. I'm just not. And I recognize that. And it was also important to me that this wasn't trickling down and affecting my child, okay? Because that's where I had to get a lot of gumption, because I was just like, so there were so many times, where I was just like, this isn't working for me. And I would say it, and I meant it. It wasn't to, I would say it just like that. It wasn't like in the heat of, and I was just like, this isn't working. I don't think this is going to work. And I didn't even feel that therapy was a fix, because sometimes you have to do your own work. And again, I'm not saying I was all queenie and right. No, what I am saying though is that if your track record is whatever it is, right, know thyself. And if you're the common denominator in multiple issues, I have my thing, and I know what my things are. I'm very impatient with non-black and white matters, right? So if I don't connect in this way, it's like it's hard for me. If there's like a lot of stress and things like that, I'm like, I'm not here for that, because first of all, life is so fleeting and it's so short, and I just really think that it was super important to disconnect myself completely from the situation. Now, in saying that, making the decision was a little bit tough and scary, because yes, I was in another country. How was I prepared? I hate to say it, ladies, gentlemen, but I have my own. I have my own, okay? Whatever your own is, okay? And I'm not saying that in the sense of, oh, if you're married, you should this, that, and another. You all do what you want to do, but just know this. If you're moving abroad, whatever problems you have over there, you are going to have them over here, okay? Things don't get different, brighter, cheerier. It's like the honeymoon of moving abroad will fade fast, and real life stresses will come up, things will come up, and that's life, right? We all know this. We've been through it. We're grown, right? We are grown-ups. So my point is that don't think moving abroad is a fix. I didn't think it was a fix. What I thought was we need our own space, right? Because we didn't have that. I was not moving north, and I was like, okay, you can move south if you want, because I didn't have drama in regard to the whole blended, I'll say blended family. Yes, I have my kid, but meaning I wasn't with, exes that were around and all this other stuff. So the point is that once coming here, I don't know why I thought, well, I could say don't know why. I felt like having a space that is our own space would enhance the relationship into, okay, this is our chapter, right? We're planning this and we want to do these things and we want to go here, and we're going to, enjoy a semi-retirement. I still wanted to do a business, but those were my thoughts, right? So before I carry on, I just want to say welcome to Carol, Elise, Heidi, Angela, and if I missed anyone, I'm sorry. Yes, moving to Mexico without him because he has two girls that won't graduate until 2 more years, and he has cussed. Okay, yeah. There are so many issues. I just want to say that again, it's not easy. It's not, I'm not here to trivialize anything. There are so many emotions and so many factors, and I am very, very grateful for my circumstance, which is that my son's father from the beginning supported um, moving anywhere out of the United States. And it was a conversation that I had, right? I had this conversation for a while. I said, I really am not crazy about raising Micah in Florida or in the US. And fortunately, he was just kind of like, neither am I. Where do you think you want to go? Again, my ex-husband is not Micah's dad, because sometimes that gets a little bit misconstrued there. So I'm just saying it, but you know, having the support of the biological parent sometimes when your situation might be different, it's difficult to, navigate, especially if you have children. I've had people talk to me about their particular scenario, what they would like. And, I can't give you advice because I'm not here to tell people this is what you need to do in your relationship, and you're with your ex-husband or your ex whatever. I'm not here for that. I'm just talking about my situation, and I'm just saying that it's always, if you can, it's always good to keep and maintain a cordial relationship, a healthy communication like relationship. It's really important that you are real, right? Because moving to another country, it's challenging. And so back to the story, and thank you all for popping in. Hi, Helen. I didn't quite, I think that's Jackie. Welcome. Yes, back to the story is, we finally did not, well, we finally, I should say, came together under the same roof. Guess when? During COVID. And we all know about COVID, right? So I have to say this though, I'm very grateful that it happened during that time, because if you can make it during COVID, probably can make it anywhere at any time, any circumstance. And I'm not just talking about your partner, your husband, your wife, your partner, whomever, okay? I'm just talking about even with your family, right? Because it was just so much. Thank you. Thank you all for the compliments. I'm sorry, I don't want to just glaze over. I appreciate that. I decided green was my color today. Oh, wait, look, cityscape. That is not a photo. That is for real. Look how beautiful. Okay. I'm loving these 2 days of Mexico City. That's enough for me. But again, back to embrace the meanwhile. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Embracing change, embracing what happens in between the next thing, right? And it was tough because, I think in my mind it was like so many years building up to us finally living in the same house. And then when it happened, I think there were so many things, like a lot of like, red flags for me that went off, but it wasn't enough for me to quit the relationship, so much so where I felt like, you know what? We didn't come full circle because we've been talking about living abroad. I came earlier and I moved to Mexico. Maybe it took 2 years. I came in 2018 and 2020. Finally, we were under the same roof, but it was a plan that was in place for a few years, right? First, it was a conversation about where do we, live under the same roof? Which place? Is it the US? Is it up north? Is it down south? Where? The point is that we all have to try, right? And that was, I think, that's one of my not so strong points. Like if things aren't feeling good to me, I'm a very free spirit, and I'm just like, I'm done with you, like that. I'm not a big trier. I don't try extremely hard at, I'm not going to say relationships, I'm going to say men. Yeah. Because I just feel like, you know what, if there's not the balance and maturity, yeah. In this case, there was a little more trying because we didn't come full circle. And I thought, okay, here we are planning all this stuff. Do I just drop it on the floor? No, I'm older now. My situation's a little different. And I just thought it was important to try let's go full circle. Yes, there's these problems, and yes, this stuff is coming up, and all these things. And, at the end of the day, yes, Micah does have a whole bunch of aunties. Tracy, yes, absolutely. I'm going to put a like on that. Can I tell you this morning that the ladies at the house, let me tell you what we have for breakfast. We had birthday cake and coffee. And we sang to Micah. He had his party yesterday. And I mean, all the ladies are just loving on him. So since I've had him, 12 years of amazing women that have passed through our lives and just have yeah, the woman representation in my world, not just in San Miguel, but in general for him has been hot and heavy and strong. And I'm so grateful for all of you. I'm super grateful for my mom, my aunts, his actual aunts and his family in St. Martin that absolutely loves him, and the people that called him yesterday from the islands, from everywhere, all the messages from really all over the world. I'm so grateful to all of you, and I just want to say that he's totally loved on in this regard. So many beautiful women in our world, and that have just loved on him in this regard. So I'm grateful that I have this beautiful kid, and although single motherhood is not always easy, I hope that, if this is your situation, that for those who basically have been through it, you know what I'm talking about, because we make it, right? We're going to make it. But for those who may be going through either the decision process of, you know what, I choose me, I choose my kids. It's not easy, but you'll make it. And I hope you have a community. I hope you have love. I hope you have a village of support. That makes it so much easier and better. I'm super grateful. Thank you. Yes, I'm super proud of my little munchkin, who's not so little anymore. So we're going to cheer him on for his robotics competition coming up. I was like, we traveled for this. Do well. So I'm like, anyway, so going back is just a lot of things that I think were already apparent, but it was important that all the time spent planning didn't end up being like the runaway bride scenario, right? You almost, or the runaway groom, where you almost got there and then you're like, even though I kind of felt that way oftentimes, I thought it was important to really say, you know what, we put our best foot forward, but also being okay to let it go. So, I just wanted to say, like, a part of, I think, surviving things that are divorce, separation, even, losing a loved one, is being able to recognize that, recognize the emotions, going through the emotions, right? But not staying in the bottom of the pool all the time and not letting go. We have to heal. You have to heal, okay? You have to let it go. And that was one of the struggles, was that whatever happened previously, not so much for myself, but previously for my ex, was that never letting go of the things that happened before, and just like anytime something came up, and I realized that it was, for me, it was a damper on my energy, and my energy was being sapped. It felt like someone, like a vampire, was here sucking the blood. So, moving does not make it easier, so it's important to really and truly understand that this adds more, and it adds more for different reasons. Again, I am grateful that, you know, the idea came to fruition with the support, right? The support, okay, let's give it a try. Let's go. Let's do this. I'm very, very grateful for that. So I don't want to trivialize the change that happened in terms of his life and our life to get here. I'm grateful for that, you know, but at the same time, I also recognize that, you know what? Ooh, it's not working, right? And that's scary. It's scary if, you know, let's say your partner, and I'm not going to say husband because it could be anyone in your life, your partner is the breadwinner, the one who pays the bills. I don't know, you know, whatever the laws are, things like that. If you have like a prenup or something, that was not my case. You know, different things. Whatever the reasons are, it can be very overwhelming being in a new country, and it's like, oh, you know, how do I survive here? So my situation is what I'm talking about. I'm not going to tell you what to do, how to survive, but what I do think is important is being prepared for a change, because it's life, okay? Being prepared for possibly more issues if you already have them in your home country, right? These are the top things that I think it's important. Being prepared for what if this doesn't work and we're both going our separate ways. Do I want to stay in this place abroad, or am I going to go back home? Am I taking my kids with me, or am I going to, you know, stay here with them? And how do I survive? I know a lot of people from then till now that have had this happen. You know, I met this beautiful couple from England when I first came here. 6 months later, I saw her somewhere. She's like, "Oh, you know, we're getting a divorce," and I just thought, "Oh, that sucks," you know. And you know, I think that sometimes a change of heart happens when you have a change of scenery. Now, that doesn't mean you found a new man or a new person. I don't want to gender. I don't want to make the gender on this. I'm opening some water. A new partner, right? I'm not saying that. I'm talking about um, if you have a change of heart, because maybe your change of heart is I don't know that I want to be in this place with that person anymore, right? Because a lot of times when you move abroad, you're spending a lot more time together. You know, especially if you're a nomad or you're, you know, someone who works online, basically a nomad, that you know, you're under the same roof, you're around each other all the time. If you have children, sometimes that could be a little challenging. It's not a negative thing. What it is it can bring a lot of things to the surface that maybe you didn't really have to deal with. You know, the challenge of a new culture, a new language, there were things that came to the surface. Now, I'll say this. This is another one of my, you know, top things to consider is when the decision was being made about where in Mexico to be, um, Mexico City was one of those places. Merida was one of those places. Playa del Carmen was one of those places. San Miguel, and I believe Guadalajara, actually even Lake Chapala. So the focus was so much on the real estate because that is priority. But I'll tell you that it's not the only thing. It's not the only thing that you need to think about. You also need to think about where do we, if you're coming with a we, where do we fit, right? It's important also if you have older children to see if, you know, when I say older children, meaning, you know, not a baby, maybe not a 6-year old, but more like a 10, 12, 13-year old. how does it affect them, and how does it affect the dynamics of your relationships within the whole, picture, the big picture of your family and your household. So I thought it was really important to have those conversations and just kind of like looking around. And I decided, um, okay, let's do the research, right? And let's take the trip. And I remember the first research trip included San Miguel, it included Mexico City, and it was supposed to include Merida. Didn't make it because of time constraints. But I love Mexico City, um, but I also loved San Miguel. And I had to think not just of what would it be like to be in a city, I also considered what will work for this dynamic, which is a young child, another grown up who's never been to Mexico, doesn't speak the language, a little high energy or a lot high energy, definitely able to blend in anywhere, but it can be frustrating for someone who is hyperactive to not be able to socialize because of the language barrier. And that same frustration exists for children. So these are the things that you have to think about. So for me, when we visited these different places, I said, ooh, if we came to Mexico City, as glamorous as it is, and hype and all the things, right? Just, beautiful places to live. Basically, you're not missing anything. I'm like, living in Mexico City is way more, in my opinion, than where I lived in South Florida. Living in Connecticut, absolutely, way, just a lot more to do, a lot more interactions that can happen, so many neighborhoods, cost of living is less, and all those things, less than the United States. And so after kind of thinking it through, I said, ooh, if we came to Mexico City, as much as I love it, it's going to put a lot of stress on me because I'm the only one who currently speaks a little bit of Spanish. And maybe that creates the sense of isolation, right? And that can be a huge factor in the relationship where if the need to communicate and you're taking someone out of an environment that they're comfortable in, and maybe they're not as flexible as you, because I'm very flexible and adaptable to lots of situations. I might complain about something, but I can pretty much embrace a lot of things. But if that other person or persons, that's not their jam, it can become your problem. It could create kind of like, the underlying stress where it's kind of like you feel like, oh, let me always consider all the things that keep them kind of happy, so whatever. And it wasn't so much the case because, there was this sense of, oh, San Miguel is very chic, there's rooftops and blah, blah, blah. But it was a much smaller place that I felt, okay, we can take this on. I didn't feel like we could take Mexico City on. So there are a lot of things to think about. I think a reason why a lot of folks love San Miguel is because it does have like a big city attitude. I say that often, but you don't get swallowed up by it, right? And here you could get swallowed up. Like no one pays any attention to you here. And in San Miguel, people want to speak and they want to say hi, sometimes too much, but nothing wrong with, kindness and things like that. So I think that those are just kind of like some of the things to think about if you're moving. It's like, okay, you know what? Let's talk about our reasons, right? Am I just trying to convince this other person in my life or people and kids in my life that this is it? Even though you could probably see, the bright light at the end of the dark tunnel of leaving the United States or Canada. And yes, I said it. Um, that doesn't mean everyone feels the way you do. I've had so many people pass through Casa Elm that have, very, very high hopes for converting their family into coming and to doing and all these things. And I'm in another country and this is so exciting. Not saying people won't come, they will. But I don't think everyone is going to feel the way you feel, right? And that also includes the relationship itself, right? It also includes, um, how do we collectively feel about this? It's important for you to make a research trip if you can, right? Not just as yourself, like make the trip together, right? Talk about the factors, talk about the things that are important, right? Talk about what if this doesn't work, right? Are both of you, is one going to say, well, you know, I want to be here, or, looking at the relationship, like the struggles, and okay, moving over here, are we actively working to fix some of the issues and the problems, right? In my case, that's kind of what we did, right? We tried. And honestly, I had not really spent a lot of time speaking to counselors and therapists in the past, but although I think emotionally I was kind of like, I'm done, but once again, I'm making an excuse probably for myself to say, I tried, right? I tried to basically um, say, okay, this is where we are, right? This is not working in this capacity or this way, but let me let's talk to someone. And I remember in my research of trying to find someone that I felt was a good fit, during COVID, right? So the whole COVID thing, there's no need to explain all the dynamics and stress and factors and things like that that came up for so many people. I think a lot of people went through a lot of relationship drama, trauma, breakups, whatever. Um, Talking to someone, but I remember vetting a person, and one of the things that really hit me in the conversation that I had with them was, if both people are not earnestly trying to work on this collectively together, then it's not going to work. And I remember having a light bulb moment, and I was like, I honestly, I'm done. Like, I don't feel like doing this. I don't want to work on this. And, I think I was just kind of like, you know what? I just don't see that there's that much work in the world where this is actually going to make sense, right? Maybe that's my brokenness. I don't know. I'm not trying to say I'm perfect, but what I do recognize is if something is not good, then I need to back away from it because it's not serving me. And to be honest with you, where I am in this space in my life, it was a journey. And I think we all are on the journey itself of self recognition. If you are going through stuff in your life and it's kind of a repeated thing or a repeated pattern, step back and assess things, right? Assess why and where. I do this often, right? Just, because I'm here doesn't mean my life is perfect. It's not. What I do know and what I do recognize is I'm older, and it's important for me to protect my energy space. It's important to protect my life and protect my child. And to be honest with you, it was another factor that really pushed me towards um, doing what I do, right? Which is Casa Elm, to being a voice, to sharing the experiences and the journeys and things like that. It's really interesting sometimes because I get comments on YouTube from people if I travel around. And I know most of it is meant well and well intended, and I appreciate it. But I'm not limited to a space because I don't have a man to escort me around my life and to do things. You know, we all have to be cautious about where we go at all times and the things we do and the decisions that we're making. And life is, you know, but I'm not going to not live, and I'm not going to not do, and I'm not going to not say, and I'm not going to not express myself because I'm afraid to. Like, that's not going to happen. You know, am I tactful about things? Absolutely. But one thing that I know for a fact is that me hitting the road has nothing to do with a man. And if you saw us hitting the road in the past as a, you know, with a man, or me with my now ex, it's because it was me who wanted to hit the road. I like hitting the road. I like to travel. I like to do things and things like that. And yeah, you know, there were times when it felt more comfortable, right? But I'm okay to come outside of my shell and my box. And I think there are plenty of us women on YouTube and a lot collectively that are leaving and traveling. I mean, it's a whole movement now. And I think that we are showing up that ambition, right? That it's okay. And sometimes we need to do it in a group. We need to do it with other people. We need to come to Casa Elm. We need to feel loved on and safe. I get it, you know, but I just think it's important that we don't just shrivel up into prunes and dry up in a box, and the box being your life or your house, and or you know, something that doesn't serve you anymore. So I'm just saying that it's important to recognize that if you're going through things wherever you are, moving is not necessarily going to fix it. You have to find other avenues, which I'm sure people already know this, but I think it's really important to not get blindsided by the excitement of moving to another country, because it's something to talk about, right? It's something to be like, oh, I'm moving, I'm leaving, I'm going here, da, 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 and I went here and I love it. And if you're going with someone, it is definitely important for both of you to talk about all the factors, right? Talk about the financial factors. You know, come up with a plan. You know, it doesn't mean you plan to leave. It just means make sure that you know, you both are really wholeheartedly there for it, you know. And even when you are, because that was my case, you know, in the end, that was the decision that was made, and it was exciting. And, you know, coming down for him was like, wow, you know, a vacation, long weekend vacation every month, or a week or so every month, and meeting all these amazing people in Mexico, in San Miguel, having all these really cool experiences and things like that. And, you know, but at the end of the day, some of the anxiety and stresses of the actual relationship still were there. And they just, you know, I know that they can be more magnified, but I think at the same time, I felt that being in a separate, like, chapter or space, and maybe that was just not the right approach, was going to somehow, okay, you know, breathe life and fresh air into the next thing, right? We were the next thing, in terms of, you know, okay, we're getting away from, you know, some of the past things. And, you know, I remember I was so open. I was like, oh, you know, bring some of the kids if they want to come and they want to experience, and they want to, even if they want to go to college down here. And, you know, there's that excitement again, maybe kind of being a little bit blindsided by the excitement and the joy of, woo, you know, like, this is cool. And, you know, I'm in another country and I'm learning these things and I'm having fun and whatever. It is really important that you are realistic about whatever your current challenges might be. You know, and hopefully both, or all people involved, are honest, not just with you, but also with themselves. Like you have to start with yourself. The honesty starts within. Like, you know what? I'm going to slow down for a moment and I'm going to think about this. I'm going to slow down and I'm going to think about this change, and I'm saying it because I didn't do all of those things. Okay. So these are my experiences again that I openly share with you. And so it's just kind of important, I think, that those conversations continue to happen. I think it's important to visit places and then maybe kick back and assess, like, is this it? I think I was just, for me, it was where I wanted to be. I don't know that that was the case for him, but in the end, when COVID hit and the relationship was like, oh, this is now the time we choose to live under the same roof. And it was difficult, but I was also grateful that it wasn't like a long, extra, drawn out process of crumble crumble cake. It was kind of just like, oh well, we're all under the same roof, we're in the same space, and there's a lot of like dynamics that are crazy and stress, and there were just a lot of factors that I felt hit like a ton of bricks. And I recognized that, what, this definitely is not going to last long term, but we try, let's do this, that, whatever. Let's get away from this space and go somewhere else and whatever, let's try this and that. And it just wasn't happening. And although, and I say this often, and I've said it throughout my lifetime, adult life, is although sometimes things really feel scary and things like that, always remember that you can't self-sacrifice your health, your mental health, your body. You just can't self-sacrifice. I don't think that it's sustainable, to be honest. I really truly believe that the longevity in my DNA with my mom, my aunts, mostly the women, the strong women in my family. I spoke to one of my aunts the other day. She is almost 95, I believe, and the other one's almost 97. Fully there, as witty and strong as ever. I feel like they've had this longevity because they've had less stress in their life. And I just feel like, they have lived this nice long life, ate well, definitely speak their minds. They have no qualms about that. My aunt, my eldest aunt, who she remembers everything. She cracks me up. She's like, "Come here, let me give you a knuckle duster." My point is that I see them and I see me and in this, and they're just, one's extremely hot and spicy, and my mom is kind of in between, and my eldest aunt is, more like mellow. The knuckle duster one, believe it or not, is a little more mellow. But the example that I'm giving is that my other aunt, she developed a lot, like dementia. She had a lot of stress, not because of a relationship, but relationship with family and things like that. And there was just a lot of stress in her world. And I really feel like that was an example, for me as a female to kind of, eliminate those factors, because it's a slow killer. I've talked about this before. It's a slow killer, right? I started, when I look back at some of my beginning videos on YouTube, I had put on a lot of weight. I mean, we all did during COVID. Well, most people did. And I was walking, but I know that there was a lot of stress that was involved. I remember grinding my teeth in my sleep, and I couldn't even help it. And I still kind of do it sometimes, but there were just so many things and so many factors. So the point simply is that it's necessary for us to recognize when the pivot, the change, the flexible, being flexible in our world, especially when you move abroad. You have to come open to receiving the experience, come open to um, embracing change in a lot of ways, okay? Again, I'm not going to trivialize the factors. Like, there's the financial factor, which is probably the biggest factor, right? And then there's like, oh, I feel trapped factor. What do you do about that? I think the way you plan this is to have a plan, right? You talk about things and you talk about the what ifs, not to say you talk about leaving or separating, but you have to think about what, like, okay, if this didn't work out for me, what happens? If you've been through the ringer, the mill with your relationship and okay, you know what? I already know we're sticking and staying forever. That's fantastic. That's not everyone's case or everyone's situation, but I also think the concept of moving abroad is not meant to be miserable, right? I did not move to Mexico to be miserable, okay? I was not here for that. I wasn't here. I'm never here for that. And I can be, I can be a little, yeah, when necessary. So, in saying all of those things, I think that, when change is essential, what is the plan for you if you live in another country, right? Do you share a household? Do you share things? Did you move together? Do you have a lease together? All of these factors, I think, are important to consider. Again, if you're having issues there or you start having issues abroad, you need to think about, what is my situation, right? I've seen, trust me, I've seen so many things in these past 6 years. And even before, I remember when I first moved to San Miguel, there was this person on Facebook talking about all the stresses that she was going through because her and her husband, it wasn't someone I knew personally, so I can talk about it, but that her and her husband were going through whatever, and they had kids and she didn't have anywhere to go and didn't have money and all these things, right? And that can be very scary. Do you just go running back to the United States if that's not what you want? So in my case, like I said, my situation was, all right, I'm here, and I'm doing this, but I knew from when I came to Mexico, I wanted to own and have my own thing, my own business. I still wanted to work. I thought it was going to be more just having retreats. And for the people who met me earlier on, they asked me, I had a few beautiful Black women ask me, when I first got to San Miguel, oh, okay, so, what are you going to do? And I said, I think I want to do some women's retreats. That was kind of my vision. And so anyway, we talked a lot about these things, and I just said, okay, you know what? It would be nice to start looking into that. Half a year, 2018 was kind of settling it in. 2019 was, again, trying to tie up all the loose ends in the United States, real estate. There's just so many things, right? There's so much to do, so much to consider. And I just want people to be fully open and aware of this. When you make a move with someone, there are so many factors, and not just the emotional factors, but so many factors that have direct tie-in to how you settle into that new space, right? Sometimes someone else may not feel as strongly about it as you do. And so it's important that you talk through the what if. And, again, I'm not saying it like in the sense of leaving. I'm just saying it in the sense of, even for yourself, like having those thoughts, like if you have any doubts about, I'm not sure, like what's going to happen here? What am I going to do? How would I survive? Would I want to leave and go back? My biggest thing was is I didn't want to feel forced to return. So my brain is always on solutions because I do believe there's a solution for every problem. I do believe that. It may take time, but let's see. Federica, yeah, Mike Tyson said everyone has a plan until they get punched. Yes. What is your plan if your relationship ends while living abroad? Yeah, what is your plan? In my case, I think having, you know, I don't know how you do this in a marriage per se, but I'm just talking again, I'm talking about myself, but having money that's accessible to you, that if you choose to stay where you want to stay, that you can afford to pay for yourself, even if it's okay, I can afford to pay for 1 year of my things, or I can afford to pay for 2 years until I figure it out. This will give me enough time to figure out where do I go next. Or hey Nadine, how are you? My good friend from how long? From 19 how long, right? So one of those things, is, it doesn't mean you talk about dissension again. It's just kind of like, if you, even if you are there, like you had no intention of this not working, and you came together, you both enjoying, and then maybe things start coming up, and maybe you feel like, oh crap, this isn't working. Do you just stay there and get sucked down, or do you start having those conversations? I think again, if you know your relationship is susceptible to problems wherever, you got to think about that, right? If you just say, you know what, everything's good, but maybe while you're abroad, it starts to feel like, we're having some challenges or whatever, you have to communicate. Okay, you have to be able to communicate what those things are, how do you fix it, and be real. I hope that anyone who has a partner can be real with the partner, and I think that that's what's important, is knowing what your relationship is. Can you be real with the partner? Can you say, you know what, I'm not feeling this isn't working for me. If it doesn't work, these are the things that I would like to have happen. In my case, I was like, I'm staying in Mexico because I want to stay in Mexico. How can I continue to do this? My situation was a series of a lot of things. And it was, one, I don't want to fight. I'm not trying to attach myself to anything that belongs to you, right? I'm going to do my thing. And, part of my thing was, I didn't start the guest house space because of that, but it was definitely a part of the keeping myself in a place where I could take care of myself and my child. And, I thought initially I was looking at buying land. This was quite a few years ago. And I said, okay, I'll buy some land somewhere and develop the land, not because of the relationship, but just something I wanted to do. And I just always felt like, okay, if I have ownership of something, then, I can figure out the other parts and pieces. So my point is that you need to know where you are, and you need to know your things. You need to understand your dynamics in your household. Some people can say, well, if I get divorced or if I leave, this is what I'm going to get out of it. In my case, believe it or not, that wasn't the situation, because I didn't want anything. I literally didn't want anything because my ego is that big. I was like, I'll be damned if you try to say that I'm attaching myself to your monthly check. Nope. So in saying that, this is a part of You know, the universe, in my opinion, pushing, like, here's another option, here are other solutions, here's what you're good at, here are your strong points. You already started down the journey and the path of helping people. You've already done a lot of this type of work in the past. You've had Airbnbs and rental properties in the United States. This is your strong point. This is what you know, right? So I think a lot of people move abroad, and if they don't have to work, they don't, or they get involved in charity or they get involved in something else, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. I am not knocking the beautiful things that work for anyone, whether it's with someone or not. All I'm saying is that we all have the talents, and if you know for a fact, I'm not sure, but I really want to be here, you have to start working on that. You have to keep it real. And those are my top things, is like, keep it real with yourself, right? If you feel like, ooh, I'm kind of hanging out here 60% of the time because I don't know how I'm going to take care of myself, you know, maybe it's time to think about how you can take care of yourself, right? Whether you're male or female. I know a lot of people are moving abroad single, right? Whatever the reasons are, as I said, with children, it can be really a problem. I don't have a solution because there is no simple answer for any one thing or anyone's life or scenario. I think it's really important that you're not moving for just the sake of, oh, we're going to do something different and new, but not understanding that this place comes with a whole other set of challenges. As I said, as simple as getting bribed and then not having a solution, right? I could get bribed again tomorrow or the day after. I'm staying put with the car. But my point is that stuff happens, it's life. And I think that talking through things and having those conversations, it's really important for people to really understand that, this could happen. And if it does, how do I brace myself for that? If, let's say, everything is sold back home, right? I don't know, like, what if you sold your houses and your property, and now you're here. I know people that went through whole divorce scenario here in Mexico. That wasn't me, but I think that's scary. Because I remember, like, my first initial conversations, I had a conversation with someone because I wasn't sure. I was like, where do I start? This isn't working. Like, what do I do? I didn't want to go back to the United States. In my case, I just opted for mediator. And I'm just keeping it real. I opted for a mediator because I didn't want to fight about anything. I was just like, I'm happy you're leaving out of this small town because we both can't stay here. So for me, it was kind of one of those situations where I was like, I don't want to argue. I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to, like, none of these things. It's just not working, and there's nothing to fix, in my opinion. There was nothing to fix because the fixing wasn't going to be the solution. It wasn't going to work. End of story. And it was time to move on. And I was okay with the change. And, it's like, you just have to be able to move and pivot in the direction that is going to be healthy for you, healthy for your child, healthy for your mental state of mind. Sometimes people aren't spending much time together, so they're like, you know what, I can deal with that person because they're not really around me, or we're moving a lot around to different whatever, and that's your refresher, or you have like a good solid relationship, a solid understanding, and you're able to work through. That's the most ideal situation and scenario, but that doesn't always happen, for whatever the reasons are. And as I said, in my case, I knew from probably like a year and a half or more before the move under the same house, I was kind of like, I don't know, but okay, let's go full circle. Let's try this. We talked about it. Let's keep going. Let's keep trying. Let's whatever. And when the full circle happened, it was like, oh, horrible. Um, yes, Shan, that's right. Keep some cash and always have fare to get home. Yeah, that part, So just, those are like my scenarios. That's kind of what my situation was. It really, honestly, I didn't feel that it wasn't the moving abroad, I think, that broke us. It was like the relationship was already complicated, but because we didn't live together, there wasn't like the time for all the things to kind of really keep coming to the surface. So they would come, then he would go, and I was by myself, and I was like, and that was my mistake, probably both of us, my mistake for just kind of being like, okay, all right, maybe when we live together, not that I thought it would get better and suddenly that those things would disappear, but I just felt like maybe there we'll feel more like bonded somehow and less, I don't know, I just maybe felt like he'll have less insecurities somehow about things. So in saying all of that, it was just kind of like, no, there's work. And I remember one of the times I said, there was just like a whole like fallout. And I remember it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I said, there's no fixing this, right? I was like, this is greater than us. We can't fix this. You know, can't fix it. Like I didn't see it. There's a fix. As I started recognizing that, oh, this isn't really about the argument. This is about the fact that it keeps happening. And what's causing that? Like what's causing all this? And I just kind of realized like the way I was as a person was not what maybe he wanted, and the way he was not quite what I wanted, and it was that realization like, okay, yes, we have this beautiful story, this history of high school sweethearts, and here we are, we came back together after all these years, and it could have been amazing, but we're now grown. We now have our own things, our own personalities. I'm a very independent person in my movements. I will never, if my future person is out there, I can't say husband because I'll never get married again. If my future person is out there watching this, I will never have you question how I dress, how I am, no, okay? So culturally, I think that that's something within my culture, within our race, that I rise against. And I'm not saying this is everybody. I'm just saying from my own personal experiences that, sometimes people in a different culture kind of gel better because, maybe your experiences as a child growing up and teenager and, dating and whatever was kind of like resembling this, which you don't want. And over here, it's like, oh, that's not a thing for that other culture or that other thing. So that's kind of, what I'm used to. And I like to have mutual respect, independence, understanding, and all that. It doesn't mean, it's a free for all, not at all. It's just kind of, there's not a lot of immaturity. I can't. So in saying that, yeah, yes, you're so right, Adelia. I think that intuition serves us so much, and we really have to listen to it. And I have to say that I have really learned that here in Mexico. I've learned that through experiences. I've learned that thing that's right down here. When something happens, immediately, right? Like immediately, it doesn't matter who it is, it just have to be a partner. Just when you feel that, it's like stop and listen. Why do I feel this way? Sometimes it's us, right? But the us is still guiding you, right? I really, really believe this. So I think it's important to pay attention to that, right? And to shut it down and yeah, just kind of be in tune with yourself and in tune with the things that are healthy for you. Um, I mean, I can't even tell you how incredibly amazing life is right now, the blessings that are in my world because yes, I listened to intuition and I took a different direction because I was like, this isn't healthy. I need to move in this place or this direction. And there's always going to be fear of change, but you have to be able to embrace that wholeheartedly. Like my friends always like, Michelle, you took the bull by the horn. And I do. And I'm just like, life is. It's like, when my time on earth is done, no one can say that I was mousy about life. That I am not. And I think there are many of us that are not, that are in this circle, and those that are out there voicing life as they see it and how they feel about it is giving life to those who need it and want it. And that's what I'm here for. People say, oh, you're so calm and you're so whatever. I am a calm, but I'm a storm when I need to be a storm. And I'm saying this because I really feel very strongly about pouring into everyone's cup. When I say everyone, those who need it, the people who need it, the people who seek it out, the people who respect where you are and that they understand it. Do I need everyone to like me? No, I don't. But at the end of the day, I've learned that I'm okay being myself and voicing my opinion and talking about things, again, being tactful, but I'm not afraid to shine and glow. And I think it's really important that where your purpose is, and that is also part of the intuition, is to listen to that. What is your purpose? What are you here to do? You here to move and make a change? Go do it. You want to do this today, but tomorrow you're like, you know what? F that. I want to do this. I want to try that. Go for it. Put your heart and soul in the things that you want to. If it's your children, if it's your relationship, if it's yourself, it's your pets, whatever, go for it. I think you can't live and just be like, a shadow of everything around you. That I won't be ever. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it gives you enlightenment and guidance on things to think about. If you're making those changes, talk about those things, have those conversations. Hi, Lorraine. I just want to say hi. Did I miss anyone? Hi, Sabrina. Welcome. I just want to say, have those discussions and, love on your person, love on your partner, love on your life. If they're supporting you and you're like, oh crap, we took this trip or this boat ride together and it's not what we thought. Okay, you know what? Maybe we should go somewhere else, right? But if it's just not healthy and it's not holding you down and you are falling apart at the seams and crumble cake, like I said earlier, before you got to your new country, trust the stresses in the new place are going to get more and more heavy. And sometimes it cracks at the foundation and it continues to crack. And if it's cracking, don't let that shit suck you all the way down into the ground, okay? Make a change if you need to. It's important. It is so important that you think about life in longevity purposes and how your health is affected by you trying to be under the water holding things up. Not your responsibility. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. Okay. Not my responsibility. I'm going to speak for myself. It's not my responsibility to uh, train somebody's broken up child, broken up situations and traumas and all that. I'll work with something that makes sense, but I'm not going to have that crack me into tiny pieces. So, perfect lead in to my retreat, which is in April. And that is the birth of my retreat, was my personal experience. Now you have mostly the big picture of the story. I will not be on here talking all the time about these things. It's past, it's past. I wanted to come today to talk about how to be emotionally prepared if it doesn't work out. And that's why Peace, Not Pieces, came to be the retreat that it is. Peace, Not Pieces is because of my personal experiences. And I've, if you followed me and you followed my retreat, you'll know I did 2 last year. I'm doing 2 this year. I have 1 in April. I have 1 space left, just 1, not 2. I have 1 space left. If you're interested, you can go to casaelm.com and look at events. It is such a beautiful healing experience for anyone who has gone through any kind of traumas. And I've had people who attended, nothing to do with the relationship. It was their job, their career, their work. They were retired. They're just like, ooh, I need that, right? We heal through art therapy, and it's a week of tears, loving on each other. We are not bashing situations at all. A lot of us don't feel necessarily comfortable just coming in and being like, oh, oh my God, I'm going through. No, a lot of people come in and they're healing because of the energy and the support and the workshops that we do. So I'm saying this to you today because this is so dear to me. In the relationship that I left, there was a lot of, calling out of the name situations. And when I made the decision, and for those that know, I, put this whole thing together because of my personal experiences. And if you go to Casa Elm and go to wellness page, you'll see my story there. And I actually had a list of affirmations and things that ended up becoming art for me. I was the canvas because I wanted to be reminded every day that I am who I am, and I'm beautiful, and I'm wonderful, and I love life, and I love people, and I love, the situations that I'm a positive influence part of, and I'm not going to have someone else or other things and factors bring me down. We're always emotional, but it was a reminder that I'm a strong person, and self-love is everything. Divine goddess within, okay? That's what we are. We are divine. We're from God. So having someone, pulling you down because of whatever they're going through or have gone through, you have to take yourself out of those scenarios that are not healthy. And that was my whole reason for this retreat. Was I reclaimed my life, and I met all the right people at that time that understood the mission of my retreat and what we're about. And what I realized was sitting down and doing things through words, art, talking about it, creating a vision board about who I am, what represents Michelle, and what the other women feel represent them, and talking through it. It was just so amazing how we would just sit there and we're like, suddenly we don't know each other necessarily, and we're like bawling and we're crying and we're sharing. And it wasn't like, bashing anything. It was just kind of like, okay, I have the support I need. And art is everything in this regard. It helps you heal. It's a form of expression that doesn't need to be discussed. And we sat and we had workshops with clay, and the facilitators that I have, they're amazing. If you don't know about Kate Van Dorman, she is the creator of Healing Words Project. You can find her on Instagram and you can find her on Facebook. She is one of my facilitators and she's amazing. She sits with all the ladies and she does a photo session and she writes the words that come out of it. She's also a psychotherapist and she's also an artist. She's been featured in Newsweek, and she's just an incredible person, and she lives in San Miguel, and she's been a part of this retreat we've had twice before, and we're having another in April, and I think that there's another later this year. My point of saying all of it is that this means so much more to me than what I thought would have been a retreat 6 years ago. I had really no exact direction. This was birthed because of my personal experiences, and I know that there are other people that have gone through these types of things. And I just want to say, check it out if you're interested, join. And I thank all of you amazing people for being here. Please like, and subscribe. I love you all for the support and just being a part of Casa Elm online, my YouTube channel. We are trying so hard. We're rocking out. I also recently listed that if you're interested in touring Casa Elm, I get a lot of requests for people who, I don't know, they're just like visiting and they're like, hey, can I tour Casa Elm? And normally I'm saying no, because I don't want to disturb my other guests and people and whatever. But I had a conversation with my marketing folks, and we came up with, okay, you know what? We'll make it a social sip and nibble opportunity for us to meet and also for you to see Casa. And it will be once a week on Saturdays. I'm probably going to cut it down for just 2 times a month on a Saturday from 12 to 1. And you can book that online at casaelm.com. Under resources, you'll see where it says work with me, and under work with me, it will have the option for us to do this. And when you come, we will sit down and we're going to have something authentic Mexican to nibble on and to drink. And they're going to be something Mexican. We'll see what it is each time. I've already had people who signed up, and I appreciate that. But it just kind of doesn't take away from, my time. I can kind of consolidate it to here's when it's available. And I think it would be kind of cool for those that are staying there to be able to meet for those that are not staying there, they can also meet those that are staying there. And myself is included, and we can sit down and we can talk for like an hour and just talk about the journey itself, and you can get to see the house. Tracy says she's coming to eat. Yeah, when I make some oxtails. So anyway, I really appreciate you all being here. Thanks, Frederica. Leaving way for the Made Black women. Yes, I'm supportive. Yes, it's a lot of work. Thank you all. And thank you for being so supportive. Again, I didn't come here to bash the past. No time and space for that. But I just wanted to bring things to a head and light. And I feel like it's a subject that if you're going through it, if you have gone through it, or, you see it coming, it's embarrassing. It might not be the most comfortable thing for you to talk about, and maybe you need support. Feel free to reach out to people around you and get the help and support you need. I really think it's important that you have that and you don't feel alone. And, have a plan. Have a plan of some sort if you can. Probably some best is nibble. Yes, nibble. They have like the sweet things at the market, like some special breads and things at the Panderia. making maybe some, if it's a cold morning, which we don't have much of those right now, like a tole, which is a Mexican drink, maybe like a agua de fruta of the day, a juice of the day, maybe just some local wine. If a local wine person is watching this, please feel free to sponsor. Send some bottles to Casa Elm. We're always having drinks. Hi, Empress, welcome. So if you are interested in that and you're just visiting, maybe you are not staying at Casa Elm, we want you to stay at Casa Elm, but you stay wherever you feel like you need to. This is the opportunity to potentially come by and see us. You won't see the personal spaces that people are staying in, but you can get to see the other parts of the house. And if no one's in those rooms, you can see that too. Anyway, thank you all. I am going to actually go to sleep because I'm exhausted. And Micah is so excited to explore tomorrow. There's so much here. Can I just tell you, look this building up. I think it's called Kukun, Kukun, Fort Knox, to get up in this. It is so nice in here and so sophisticated. I still don't want to live in Mexico, but it's beautiful. He's just so happy. I'm happy he's happy. He's like, I'm so happy. I'm going to eat my papaya. I thought we were going to go out and go do something, but I'm not. I'm going to eat my papaya and I'm going to drink my champagne slash, believe it or not, special bubble water mix. And then I'm going to sleep because I'm very tired. And hot springs was beautiful. All right, everyone, like my video, please. I appreciate you. If you're interested in Peace Not Pieces, you can check it out on the events page. We're sold out. If you're even thinking about coming to San Miguel for one of my relocation tours, pick one and make your deposit, por favor, because we're sold out in April, we're sold out in September. I think we have one in June that we have availability for. Not sure, and we may have one in November. Not sure. Actually, November may be close to. I think there's someone in November. We may have 2 or 3 spaces left. But I'm just saying it to you because I get requests all the time and people are interested. And I also want to say this, our relocation tour is full of information because people will come here and they try to do it by themselves, and it's a lot to know. Doesn't mean you can't, but it's a lot to know. And I want to put an emphasis because I see other relocation tours out there. I am there, I am with you through this process, right? I spend time, we go out, we do stuff together. I talk about my experiences. I talk about the city of San Miguel. I'll show you outside the city. You'll go to a vineyard experience or country experience of some sort. We usually go to La Gruta. We're there. We're holding you by your hand through this process. We're connecting you with the community in San Miguel. We're connecting you to people in San Miguel. We're educating you on the things you really need to know and what you really need to do. So it's well worth it. I see programs out there, and I'm not knocking at anyone else's thing, but I was just like, oh, okay, you're doing this, this, and this, but it's not a full, like, how do I move to? This is a full how do I move to San Miguel? How do I move to Mexico? It is all you need to know, in addition to getting to hang out with Michelle in Casa Elm. And it is an experience and a half. I'll tell you, my ladies, I'm missing them. I have a full house right now. I will be back. And I have amazing housekeeper. I don't even call it, I'm going to call her my house manager person. She is amazing. And then I have another person that's there holding down the fort. And I have 4 beautiful women. And I just want to say that I absolutely love all of these ladies. I'm thinking they are all repeat clients. They have been to Casa several times, if not at least once. And so I'm very grateful for that. And yeah, come hang out with us, okay? Thank you all. Have a great night. If you don't have any other questions, I'm heading heading to bed. I'm so tired. All right, we'll see you next week. Stay tuned. You'll get what next week is. I know I think I'm talking to someone next week. I just can't remember off the top of my head who, but you'll see that. If you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, do that because we send out information every week about things, about the guest house, about specials, what's happening, and just information that helps. And plus, what we're going to talk about on Wednesday. Have a great night. All right. Ciao.